Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of EcoBrap. Today we've got a fun one. I'm going to show you how I built a brand new dirt bike trailer for less than 400 bucks. Okay, so before we get started, just a couple of quick details on the trailer. First of all, it's extremely small, which is the main reason that I built this thing. From front to back, it measures 92 inches, and from fender to fender, it measures 55 inches. So it's extremely small and easy to store either in your backyard, at a friend's house, or you could even tilt it up in your garage and get it out of the way. The trailer is extremely lightweight. It only weighs about 200 to maybe 220 pounds all in, which means I can really easily just pick up the front of it, wheel it around my driveway, and plop it on the back of the car when I'm ready to hitch up. And even though this is only designed to hold one dirt bike on it, you could pretty easily adapt the design to hold 2 or maybe even 3 small dirt bikes on it. And most importantly, this thing was a piece of cake to build. All you're gonna need is an electric drill with some drill bits, a set of socket wrenches, and preferably a set of regular wrenches as well. Trust me, I'm a total caveman when it comes to building and fabricating stuff like this, so if I can do it, I guarantee you can as well. Now, that being said, let's get the bike off and I'll show you how I built it. Okay, so I'm going to run you through all the parts that I bought for this, and I'll leave links in the description below, so make sure to check those out. But the first thing we're going to talk about is the trailer itself. This is a Harbor Freight 40 by 48 trailer. It retails for about $299, but if you use a 20% off coupon, which is pretty regularly available at Harbor Freight, you can get it for about 240 bucks. You're gonna have to assemble it, and it's probably, from what I've read, about 5 or 6 hour job. I got really lucky, and some guy sold one with one use on it already built, and I still paid 240 bucks for it, the same price, but at least I didn't have to spend the 5 or 6 hours building the actual trailer itself. Just keep in mind that this is a $240 trailer, so I recommend when you assemble the trailer, you do exactly what the previous owner of this trailer did, and he paint penned every single bolt just to keep an eye on it, especially for the first 500 miles, to see if any of the bolts were moving or loosening up. So I definitely recommend paint marking all of the bolts on the trailer when you do build it. Okay, the second part of the trailer we're going to talk about is the motorcycle rail itself, so where the motorcycle sits while it's being transported. You can look motorcycle rails up for trailers, and they're about 120 to 140 bucks. But what I did is I bought 2 of these ATV loading ramps from Harbor Freight. They sell them as a pair for about 60 bucks. And if you use that 20% coupon, you're down to probably 50 bucks out the door. I took one of those loading ramps, turned it upside down, and secured it using 2 bolts up at the front and 2 bolts at the furthest back frame rail of the trailer as well. And I understand that using 4 bolts to secure this to the trailer isn't a huge amount, but I did use some pretty beefy hardware. I used 3/8 hardware front and back with some nylock nuts to make sure that those would never back out loose. And the back part of the loading ramp here, this was originally bent up, kind of similar to these. So I just used some vice grips and just kind of bent it down like this to make it flat and provide a nice surface for the bike to load onto. Yes, it does overhang quite a bit on the front, and same with the back. And sure, it would be ideal if you could make some sort of bracket or some sort of wedge that would give this some vertical support, but just realize that I've done quite a few trips on this with no support, and it's been just fine. Also worth noting that when you flip this loading ramp upside down, you've got these vertical supports here, and they're extremely sharp. So if you don't put something on top of it, like this little piece of housing aluminum board that I bought for like 15 bucks front and back, if you don't cover this up and you tie the bike down on these sharp edges, guaranteed gonna go straight through your tire. And when you do drill and bolt that loading ramp down to the trailer, do make sure that it's just slightly further forwards than it is back, because you want the center of gravity of the bike to be in front of the trailer axle by a little bit, just to help with stability and general control. The third part of the trailer we're going to talk about is the wheel chock up front here. Most dirt bikes have, about 3-inch wide tires, something like that. So I got a 3.5-inch wide chock up front, and it fits perfectly, just with 4 bolts bolted to the front of that loading ramp. And this has been perfect for me so far. Okay, the fourth part of the trailer we're going to talk about is the loading ramp. Now, this can be the fun one. You can basically use whatever you want as a loading ramp, whether it's a simple 2x6 4-foot board you have laying around that you chuck in the back of the car, or you can get a little bit fancier and secure something to the trailer like I did. I got really lucky, and I got this, what's probably a pretty expensive piece of aluminum U-channel for free from a friend, and I secured it to the trailer using these pins that go up through the bottom of the trailer and secured with this cotter pin on top here. It works really well, front and back, nice and secure, but it can be a bit noisy if this thing has any play in it whatsoever, so could be worth using some sort of carpeting or doormat or something to provide a bit of dampening between the two metals here instead. I do realize that I probably got pretty lucky getting this for free, but also remember that this central rail came in a set of 2, so that second loading ramp you can use as your actual loading ramp. And you can use this some sort of similar way to secure it, or just chuck it in the back of your car if it'll fit. What I will note is that if you do use that ramp, it's quite long. It's 6 feet long. So if you stick that out as far as that central rail is, as soon as you turn the car 45 degrees, you're probably gonna smash into it and destroy the bumper of your car. So if you do use a long ramp here, I would recommend moving it a bit further back like this, so that you have a bit more maneuverability left and right when you're turning or backing up the trailer. And the final part of the trailer is just this wood decking on the left-hand side. It's nice to have a bit of decking on this side so that when you do have the bike loading up, and you can easily just jump on this as you push it into its final part of the wheel chock there. It also serves as a nice little place for a kickstand if you have one, which will let you lay the bike on its side and tie it down while it's resting there. So the decking is a pretty big part of this. This is specifically a 2x12 by 4-foot long piece of wood, but you don't need to go that thick. You can probably just use a 1-inch thick piece of wood, and that'll work just fine as well. So all in all, it's a super simple build that you can probably knock out in a weekend, just a Saturday and Sunday of some fun little bolting stuff together and putting the trailer together. Really not complicated, and you'll end up with a very simple, very affordable dirt bike trailer that can be pulled by probably any car whatsoever. I tow with a fully electric Kia Niro here, and I have a 250-mile range, and when I'm towing the dirt bike, it only goes down to about 220 miles. So the weight and the aerodynamics of this trailer are pretty much non-existent. It's really, really easy on the car. So to wrap it up, let's throw the bike back on, see how long the load up process takes, and I'll give you my final few tips for dealing with this trailer if you do decide to build one yourself. Awesome, only about 3 minutes to unload the bike off the trailer and about 5 minutes to load the bike back on the trailer. And that includes tying everything down. So it's really fast, really accessible, no problems whatsoever. The final couple tidbits we're gonna go over are, first of all, tie-down locations, because I originally bought a bunch of D-rings that I thought I was gonna have to install all over the trailer for the ratchet straps, but the trailer has a bunch of mounting points that you can put the hooks on already. So I just maybe drilled a couple here and there that I wanted. In general, I've got the 2 ratchet straps up front going to the handlebars, 2 ratchet straps in the back going to the rear frame of the bike, and this provides a good amount of support from the bike shooting forwards, although the chock's there anyways. But the front straps are pretty much vertical, so there's not a huge amount of resistance that stops the bike from going off the back of the trailer, which is why I added a 5th ratchet strap up front going around the front tire up here, and it stops the tire from rolling back towards the back of the trailer. So I definitely recommend using 5 ratchet straps when tying your bike down to this trailer. Second tidbit that I touched on earlier, this trailer is really small and the rear axle is really close to the back of the car, so it's very easy to jackknife the trailer while you're backing up. So just be very careful backing this thing up, because you will end up in your rear bumper before you know it. And finally, let's be realistic, guys. This is a $240 trailer. It has got some absolutely tiny 12-inch wheels and tires on it. So if you're planning on going 85 miles an hour across the US, your bearings are gonna go at about a bazillion RPM, and it's probably not gonna work out too well for you. So I do, on average, about a 60-mile trip each way to my favorite riding area, and I keep it around 60, 65 miles an hour, and it does just fine. If you're planning on going any faster than that, I would definitely recommend keeping a spare bearing, or even better, a spare wheel and tire in the car with you to make sure you're not gonna get stranded in the middle of nowhere. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It motivates me to make more videos. Other than that, I'll catch you guys next time.